Okay, we're back at the Mascot, and we're with the Department of Home and Land, which back in the 1950s, of course, just meant they administered the butter churns. Now it has an entirely different meaning. I'm here with the artist, Mahmood Popal, and this is his work. And it has a very sort of a vintage, but grid computer-esque kind of like layering to it, as well as that sort of like
very geometric and contemporary.
Yeah, I got this like Buckminster Fuller, watching.
Yeah, I've probably been informed quite a bit by him at school.
Okay, well, it's the you create the strongest structure for a painting possible.
Those guys will never pop out of those pieces.
No, they never will. They'll be there for as long as Expo 67.
Well, those guys are trying to push out, but they're not. It's not working out for them.
No, and that in fact it reminds me a little bit. Not that I've been there, but it reminds me of like some sort of '80s thing. It's like, oh my god.
Collectively, they're not going anywhere.
It could be like the Montreal Canadiens who lost the cup lost the chance for the cup. Now they're for eternity. They're going to be pushing a giant puck up a hill.
Well, they're pushing a tomato now. So it's working out for them.
Damn you, Smurfs. And so, I mean, when I was first chatting with you about this at the opening, we're talking a little bit about the concept of industrial age, group labor, sort of losing our identity as far as the projects go. How sort of cognizant or how on top of your mind was this during the process?
Well, when I was recruiting these people, I was trying to find images of mostly collective groups who were going towards a collective goal as well. So most of the images I found were relating to that. And so I feel like in that period of time, there was that collective idea of moving forward and pushing ahead. And I find over the past few years that's kind of disseminated, and now we're getting back to a point where we're thinking about that, where with social media and even people moving back into cities from the suburbs.
Okay.
People are starting to realize, like, hey, I want a collection of people around. I want to have a little bit of a community. I want to know what this guy's doing, that guy's doing. I want to learn new things. So this is kind of working with that idea too.
Well, it seems that, there's a bit of a trend to use sort of vintage pictures with a lot of like urethane or the
resin on top.
The resin on top, and I guess I mentioned this to you before, but what sort of struck me was the sort of dark labor undertones. That a lot of artists will just kind of like see an image and think it's attractive and kind of replicate it. This kind of goes deeper.
I try to find the images I found either subconscious or even conscious after doing it, realizing that the whole point of the labor movements and how you're doing it.
You good?
Good, man. And how they've kind of disseminated. Now we're like again coming back to realizing that collectively we have to work together. And like in the 50s, before that, and even up until not too long ago, where we just realized once the recession hit that those things don't matter anymore. The labor and all people working together, like the corporations don't really give a shit. It doesn't really matter to them. So they don't see you as individuals. They don't see you as a group. They don't see you as anything.
You might as well just be part of the structure.
Exactly, you might as well be part of the structure. So what this is kind of going back to that thinking of like, working hard, having a 9 to 5, but also having a collective community of people that you can rely on and be around. It's important.
It's true. There is kind of an urban sprawl to the grid you have here as well.
Yeah,
it's like I want to buy that empty box for $200,000 right over there, and keep paying $200 a month until they actually build it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move over a bit. As you can see, some lovely tables and antiques in here, and these are the larger works.
Quite a fit with the space, actually.
Yeah, it does. There's a nice regal sort of. You know what work he's putting in my mind? Nabob.
Nabob?
The young British people who go off to a different country to earn their fame and fortune.
Oh yeah.
And then come back.
Yeah.
And they'd be called nabobs, which is what a sinister name for a coffee as well. Yeah. So it's just the era and the sort of the militant kind of organization. Let's get closer to these works.
Well, even some of the works with the homes that I've put in there, like you have a collection of people there, and they belong together. They probably even lived in the same house, And how as time has gone on, we've kind of broken that cycle. Everyone lives separately. Everyone lives in their own little bubble in their own house, and I'm kind of like recycling that. Like what other cultures, like for instance, still in Toronto, like the Sikh culture, Indian people, they all live together, And the community is different for that reason, and the way they grow as a family is different. so that kind of reflects that, because I grew up in India as well, and I come from a pretty big family, and so we understand how that important that is.
I know. I feel like growing up, it's been basically the fascism of the 50s. There's this, everything was great in the 50s, and it's all gone downhill then. Since in the 50s, we're all like nuclear families and
but it wasn't great.
Monoculture.
Yeah, exactly. Everything was synthetic.
The most horrible time in the world. Everyone would have been like Stephen Harper.
like, son, sit down in that chair and shut up.
Yeah,
that's what they did, right?
Yeah.
But I think we're realizing that I know people I speak to in this city are realizing that we have it really good here. Like, we don't need that. Like, the current movement, the current time is really interesting to learn from and make work in, as opposed to always going, well, I wish it was like the 70s or I wish it was like the 60s.
You know what? I think Toronto's big enough and has enough fashion stores that you can do pretty much in any decade you want to choose.
You can live in any decade you want.
I think even the 30s is around in Rosedale or something. But and these are nice, and they go well with the shelves built by Quest, by the way.
Oh yeah,
the shelves built by Quest.
Beautiful.
And it's an unfinished cardboard behind these ones.
What it is this is actually paper from that diary that I have there.
Oh, okay.
So it's a vintage book, right? And so I've taken the paper and put it on the back, so it's kind of referencing the era. What I've done is I've taken like these characters in these situations, and their stern, stark look that you normally would find in the actual image. I've taken them out of that environment, and I've put them in a different environment and added color. So that kind of bring this whole maybe a sense of humor they had, or maybe some of them were a bit more feminine that they like to think, And so what you're doing is adding these colors to kind of make them pop out as well.
Yeah, my son once asked me if everything was black and white before he was born, and whether I wore a top hat.
And you said yes.
I said yes, of course I did. Yes.
You're like, and everything still is. Here's a pair of glasses.
Yeah, here's a wooden nickel. He still resents me to this day. Well, these ones are really, really terrifically fun, and now it is time for the real art debate. I have been bested by an artist. And that's it.
You should stick to